Good start from Morbidelli, really good start also from Miguel Oliveira from pole position, who immediately got Miguel Oliveira, who leads.
Dream start then from the Portuguese man. Nightmare start. Fabio Quartararo, a big wheelie off the line. He's like,
yeah, and Maverick Vinales is just behind him as well, struggling. There's Johan Zarco just ahead of Taka Nakagami.
Franco Morbidelli down the hill into turn 5. He made it stick. No, he's running a little bit wide. Morbidelli comes
away early on because he's got some great rhythm. Cal Crutchlow at the moment is in 4th ahead of Stefan Bradl, but he's being
going to be racing next year. Pol Espargaro, that was aggressive up the inside of Stefan Bradl. Needs to be aggressive though. Last appearance, he's got to make those kind of moves.
Both the Suzukis have made excellent headway. Rins is up to 6th place.
Lap already over 6/10 of a second clear. We're looking back from Franco Morbidelli to Jack Miller's Pramac the Cap.
Now ahead of Dovi as we come around turn 15, then the final turn here in Portugal, and Miguel Oliveira, 24 to go. Perfect start for him.
Yeah, plan A has been executed to perfection. 4th, he's held on to that 4th place at the end of the first lap. Alex Rins picked up 4 places from 10th to 6th.
Here, it looks like he's in terrible pain.
Yeah, looks like he's got a dead leg, a dead arm or something.
Well, he's just dropped back down to 20th. What's happened to the world champion?
Quartararo regrouped after a whole bunch of places, but he's regrouped and he's now in 7th.
So there's Quartararo ahead of Vinales. What's happened to Mir? There he is. He's gone 2nd to last. And what happened to Brad Binder? A terrible start for the South African. He was down in 18th. He's only just moved up to skid mate.
Yeah, didn't have to work for that position. Now the Miguel Oliveira starting to strength. He's now is over a second. Pecco Bagnaia, as we suspected, he's retired.
Mir, is he about to hit? Yes, he is. He hits Johan Zarco and almost crashed the
board there. Just trying to get a little bit too eager up the inside of Zarco. Zarco up the inside now.
He's jumped to 6th.
Nearly in Lisbon. Back in Estoril.
That puts Stefan Bradl into the top 5.
Or a factory team bike was Stefan Bradl. Best qualifying in 6 years since a Pang 2014 at fast crash at turn 9 this morning. Oh no.
It's gone horribly wrong for Brad Binder, I'm afraid. Turn 1.
Oliveira's early speed is sensational. On that last lap he was the fastest man on the circuit by a mile. Franco Morbidelli. Astonishing early speed by Oliveira.
No one can touch him on board here with Miller. It's going to happen 3/4 of the way through this race either, in terms of tyre life and who's gone for the right option.
Morbidelli, Miller and Crutchlow, they all started in those positions, and that's exactly where they are right now. A couple of places.
And once again, the only Yamaha rider posing any sort of threat is Franco Morbidelli. Oliver.
Stefan Bradl lost his ride to Cal Crutchlow at LCR Honda in 2015, so maybe a little bit of payback.
Blimey, having watched just a moment ago Moto3 and Moto2 races, how cramped.
Yeah, looks very tight, doesn't it? The battle of the Frenchmen going on right now between Zarco and Quartararo. Zarco speed like a 40.9. Quartararo was a couple of tenths ahead of him.
Looking back now from Fabio Quartararo, 2 Yamaha teammates these will be next year. Alex Rins is just behind. Try and move from Alex Rins, fantastically done.
Yeah, up through turn 12 or down through turn to Taka Nakagami through turn 13, so bad couple of corners for the Spaniard.
Rossi, Petrucci and Joan Mir, the world champion, is in 16th.
So far so good. 9s. Blistering speed this from Oliveira. 2.5 seconds clear now. Franco Morbidelli now got through on Maverick Vinales. Vinales, as he tends to so often do, he's going the wrong way at the moment.
In his pursuit of another podium to finish the year off with, but no one at the moment can even get close.
A couple of laps to go, running wide at turn 2 to Stefan Bradl.
That was coming up the inside nicely of Stefan Bradl. The door was open. He slides on him in 10 races. He now hunts down another Honda rider.
A long time ago, and he's riding a truly brilliant race at the moment. Zarco's progress, you can see Zarco himself was actually gapped, put a bit of daylight between himself and Fabio Quartararo,
who landed pole position yesterday, his first ever pole, looking for win number 2, and across the line here, a 40.
He's already got superstar cult status in Portugal, hasn't he? Miguel Oliveira, he's just going to be in Portugal, that's for sure.
Rins goes through on Quartararo, but on the cutback, the Frenchman flies back through. So
on a race he was expecting, thought he had the pace to run in the top 5. At the moment he's got work to do to
close to the tail here of Fabio. Just in the background there is Taka Nakagami as well, and on the exit to pull it off.
And at the moment what this means is that the Triple Crown is going to elude the Constructor Championship since the halcyon days of Casey Stoner back in 2007.
Matt, in the last couple of races he's faded dramatically tyre life wise, around about halfway. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen here. We don't really know. He's got brilliant rhythm and far better tyre life at the end of those races.
Yeah, and he's built up that real nice buffer. Morbidelli and Jack Miller behind this man, Oliveira, have just had to set their personal best laps of the race. Oliveira, who's brilliantly gone back into those 139s. That's outstanding pace.
Yeah, he's a class above the Toraro. Alex Marquez has made some places up. He's just gone through on Dovi.
The start of his reign as MotoGP World Champion's been very, very disappointing for Joan Mir. That Desire Rossi in 15th spot right now.
Nakagami next up for Fabio Quartararo and ending the season out of the top 3 overall, isn't it?
Cal Crutchlow then has finally lost exceptionally well Pol Espargaro. Now, how much of time has he got to recover to Jack Miller ahead?
Yes, and the two Honda riders, Crutchlow and Bradl, have their hands full as well, because just behind them with some good is Miguel Oliveira. Here's the helicopter. You can't even see Miguel. But 2 seconds.
It doesn't matter what Morbidelli and Miller do, they just cannot run the pace of Oliver. Is his advantage right now. Fabio Quartararo desperately trying to hang on to what at the moment.
Watch if you're Lynn Jarvis, isn't it? The Yamaha 2020 machines showing again here. Quite a
no problem for KTM as well. 2 KTMs in the top 4. They've had double podiums so far this year. You've got to go Petrucci was hoping for. He's had a miserable weekend.
What was it? Let's have a look and see what happens then. Mir goes to the inside and he clapped good.
Well, that was 2 incidents, wasn't it, that Mir was involved in, that tight turn 3. That looks like 20 for poor old Pecco Bagnaia. That's his 4th DNF in the last 5.
Sideways on exit there, Miguel Oliveira. We will keep an eye on it, but I don't think there's any major drama at the moment for the Portuguese man. Jack Miller season.
Yeah, Miller has got a very, very comfortable buffer back to Pol Espargaro of 2 in Miller. In fact, last lap he was a couple of tenths slower than the Aussie.
Trying to find a way through. Aleix Espargaro, just a few places back, is the fastest. Behind Pol Espargaro, who's in 4th place. It's a huge gap up to.
And what an underwhelming finish for 2020 for the likes of Andrea Dovizioso. What an absolute nightmare for the factory Yamaha team yet again. Vinales looked like how he's struggling to keep himself inside the points.
Yeah, it's a hard watch. Marquez in the battle for 9th. Here of Morbidelli, then it's Miller and a 3.1 second back to Pol.
8.55. Now, he was concerned about the tyre wear after lap 15. Morbidelli right now will barely see him. Great onboard shot this from Taka Nakagami. How right hand hairpin, Nakagami fires that LTR Honda up the inside. There's nothing that quite
retaliate though into turn 5, desperately trying to hold on to this position. Here's Fabio. 2 races at the start of the season. So Nakagami side by side, the Honda and the Yamaha, and Nakagami finally manages to make the move stick.
The 9th or 10th. Simon, I believe you've got some information on what happened to the very unfortunate poor Pecco Bagnaia.
Yeah, felt like it dislocated and it's gone back in, but it's horrendously painful.
That doesn't seem all the best into the winter, but it's been a pretty horrid run for the second half of the season for the
top back in, but sounds horrendously painful and uncomfortable. There's another incident as well in point to start his World Championship defence.
Pol Espargaro almost lost the front. Wide again, another because of Oliveira, but his chances of podium again slipping away. Crutchlow goes through a bit, now he's wide. Right on their coattails. Then you've got Zarco. Rins is closing as well. He's
for 4th place. His advantage Espargaro, Crutchlow, and then Bradl keeping himself firmly in contact. They're engaging. This is bringing Rins and Nakagami back into the hunt as well.
That drop will be.
Well, 10 laps to go. That was when everybody was expecting there to be the drop. Fabio Quartararo talked, having come here for the first time. Michelin, the drop-off's been a little bit more severe than perhaps what they might have anticipated.
Miller was the fastest man on circuit last lap. He's in 3rd place. He's 4.1. Huge battle for 4th place.
Yeah, this is like a Moto3 scrap, this is, isn't it?
In his final race as a full-time rider. Then it's Bradl. He's still just doing awesome. His last turn 9 this morning in warm-up.
It's all looking quite academic in terms of runner-up in the championship. Apparently the front end of Stefan Bradl's factory Honda was ripped off in that crash at turn. The last experience he had on that Repsol Honda was flying through the gravel trap at turn 9. This has been a bripping in to replace Marc Marquez after that season-ending horrible right arm injury. It's been 6 years actually.
We've got to the halfway point of the race. 13 gone, 12 to go. Ains at 3.6 as Rins and Nakagami and Dovi all get that wrong.
I don't know whether they all got sucked in there. I don't know whether Rins was reacting to Bradl ahead of him, and then Nakagami, of course. It was a chain reaction, knock-on effect.
Supreme concentration, and once these tyres start dropping, it's going to become even harder to stay on circuit.
Right shoulder, be quite uncomfortable experience for him right now. I just wonder whether he's
Oliveira, and this is his race pace so far. Started off in the 39s. He's just on this lap again, back to Franco Morbidelli.
Well, Grand Prix as well. Hervé Poncharal. They were almost 20 years at Yamaha, weren't they? And what an unforgettable year it's been for Hervé Poncharal and his French-based Tech 3 team. Miguel Oliveira.
Well, he was the right place at the right time in the Grand Prix of Styria when he picked up that victory. Who deserves this one? His lead now is 4 seconds as Rins again has a bit of trouble.
Spectacular speed, but what he's always had is that consistency. Dovizioso will get to a lap time, and he hasn't got the speed, Dobby, but he's got the consistency, and that's why he's just starting to ghost his way towards that battle.
183 beats per minute for the Italian. It's an embarrassing day here altogether in 13th, 14th and 15th.
Yeah, another gain on the Spec B, the supposedly inferior Spec motorcycle, fighting for
from Dovi back to Rossi. You can see the battle at all. He's lapping in the 141s, the world champion. He is.
Miserable start to his reign of MotoGP world champion, has it? Oliveira is still doing low. Is there some damage to the bike? I mean, he's had a couple of big contacts in this race. You just wonder whether there's perhaps some damage.
Yeah, there's something not right there. Champion is a retirement.
Well, he'd be relieved. It was all signed and sealed last weekend.
It's not going to be the Triple Crown for Suzuki. Their hopes still rest with Alex Rins.
Rins is going the wrong way. Rins has dropped into the mid-141s now. Normally, you're thinking these kind of coming on particularly strong at this stage of the race.
Today,
commiserating today, unfortunately.
Jack Miller is closing on the tail here. Can he find a way past Franco Morbidelli out front? Still 4 seconds ahead. It's
the second man in this Grand Prix to find a 139. 139.956.
Lost 2 places. Aleix Espargaro's gone up in the top 10.
Not sure what's happening to Alex Rins, because now he's doing 42. Suffered at turn 8 on Friday.
Blimey, that's a bit close between Maverick Vinales and Fabio Quattararo. Boost at the end of this one. They got Alex Rins up ahead of them.
Well, better to have your problems when you have already wrapped up the match.
Struggling here to keep the bike on the circuit. Suzuki, their chances of a Triple Crown, and Alex being on strong again all of a sudden. Vinales in particular, he just put in his fastest lap of the race a moment ago.
So Alex Rins then now, an onslaught coming from factory Yamahas at 11.
When he keeps threatening to, and eventually he does make Maverick Vinales get through on Alex Rins as well. He's going to try, he's going to have a good go. That's close, they almost got
from your race leader. Miguel Oliveira in the box in the top left-hand pit corner of your screen. He's already at the first corner. These guys, that's the advantage. There's been no tyre drop-off at all for Miguel Oliveira. Same for the likes
to Franco Morbidelli. And this could just be a matter of time.
Wants to exact a little bit of revenge for last week.
So another top 5 beckons for the Frenchman.
Yeah, good ride, strong way to move into.
Francesco Guidotti looks on. It looks like a podium is
as well. Jack Miller, a real strong finish to 2019, and bar some absolutely the problems that he's had this year. The Mazzano, the cruel look of Fabio Quattararo's tear-off one when he was so strong in the rain conditions, and then wiped out by Brad Binder in Teruel.
Miller, as he got closer and closer to Franco Morbidelli, so he's got a bit of hard work to do again now, because the state.
Slowest lap by Miller for quite some time, just doing all he can to held him for so long in Valencia too.
Fastest man on the circuit is Aleix Espargaro on the Aprilia.
Another place. What an absolutely shocking end to the season for Fabio Quattararo. This will be his
Valentino Rossi on that last lap, a low 41. Fabio Quattararo stages of this one. Here is a man who's definitely not struggling, Miguel Oliveira.
To watch, isn't it? You know, when you're so close to a famous victory, what a way to round out
podiums and all, and 3 wins in 2020. What a turnaround for the
sensations of this 2020 World Championship. Yes, nobody expected Joan Mir to win the World Championship, but at 6 now, it's a massive shock if they're outside of the top 6. That's not going to happen today. They're on Morbidelli, who can't break away from Jack Miller, who's hanging on in there, as you knew he would do.
Nakagami, Aleix Espargaro in 10th. Then it's Alex Marquez in 11th. Vinales and Rossi now. Fading Zadovi, as he's done in the past, is starting to show signs of speed later on.
Dovizioso's speed has been flatlining throughout the whole race. He's just been able to keep his rhythm, or to pick these guys off relatively easily. He's doing nothing spectacular. It's been another kind of
step the top 5 to finish his MotoGP career with. Just up ahead of him is Johan Zarco. Electronic problems, we understand, for Joan Mir, which has put him out of the Grand Prix.
Some unusual technical problems befalling the world champion on the factory GSX-RR.
Coming from Franco Morbidelli, but Morbidelli's not made many of late. A winner in 2 of the last 5 laps remain. He's got 4 tenths to cover on Jack Miller in 3rd.
He's on the podium on his departure for the Pramac Ducati team. Here comes Dovizioso now.
There's not a lot of room there for Cal.
And Dovizioso just blitzed through on Zarco. Nakagami's coming through as well.
Oh, blimey, it's going to be Dovi's potentially first top 5 since Le Mans in the wet, and his first dry top 5. Get this, since
better than anybody else around him. And now Miller is right on Franco Morbidelli's rear tyre. This is like Balap Oliveira, long, long gone.
Miller's on board here with Franco Morbidelli. What a race this has been from Miguel Oliveira. And we were all hoping for.
No, but you have to pay tribute to Immaculate Miguel, don't you? Gap, he's controlled it. I mean, he's still doing low 140s. That was a 140 point Morbidelli ahead of him. This looks like it's going to be another last lap showdown, doesn't it, between this pair?
Now dropped back to 10th. Aleix Espargaro's made up another place. It's back-to-back top 10s for Aleix at the moment.
The amount of riding style.
Aslan Razali and Johan Stiggerfeldt looking on. What a turnaround it's been for Morbidelli. Simon.
Who would have thought, Steve, Petronas Yamaha, it would be Franco Morbidelli who's going to be the top Yamaha man in the championship as well? Obviously, no, indeed. And he's not going to get the machinery upgrade next year as well, is he? That was confirmed. So Morbidelli into a mistake, but he's just unflappable, isn't he? Franco Morbidelli. Some amount of credit as well to Franco Morbidelli, because he's been able to keep that gap back to Jack Miller. Just a bit of meters more on Miller coming through the final turn.
Braking downhill into turn in 2nd. Here's a very lonely Pol Espargaro. It could have been a different day where he perhaps to have qualified a little better.
Frustrating day then for Joan Mir, not the way he wanted to celebrate being crowned world champion last weekend. A little glitch today. No throttle response, that's dropped him out of this race. Was 14th to Fabio Quartararo.
Yeah, the pair of them though, they're in their fight for 2nd in the world championship, which at the moment is going to go to this man, even if he falls behind. And so far so good. Simon.
Yeah, guys, I just wanted to point out tyre-wise rear, and it looks like it hasn't worked for the Suzukis and Petrucci. Zarco's the only one that's kind of made it.
All for the Suzukis. Lorenzo Savadori, I'm afraid, has crashed out of this race. He's perfectly.
What a fourth on grace it's been for Fabio Quartararo. 4 races ago, he was leading the MotoGP.
He will be. It could even get worse than that, depending on what happens. I mean, the only saving grace for Fabio Quartararo is that Maverick Vinales and Valentino.
Yeah, that's going to be easy to find, isn't it, for Yamaha engineers throughout the winter?
They're in 4th. There's only a 2nd between them now.
And it does not matter what Jack Miller does, sailing ahead of him.
No, well, it's time to. Miguel Oliveira's winding it down. The 2 Monster Energy Yamahas are coming on strong at the end of. Cal won't see him, and that was close.
Yeah, Crutchlow in the early stages was really. That hasn't worked out. Brent Stevens there, just giving a hand to our camera. An emotional day for him and Alex D next year.
Miguel Oliveira has started his final lap of the race. He's going to lose another place.
Yeah, Alex Marquez, a 140 flat. Fastest man on the circuit yet again. He did say he can keep tyre life.
One of the rides of the season from Miguel Oliveira.
Well, what can you say? Oliveira's just far too much of a cool customer. Don't want to curse him, but it's been absolutely.
Miguel, the whole of Portugal are behind you, and they will be loving this. Here comes Jack Miller though.
Valencia 2, take 2 here.
He's got to have a look. You know he's going to have a look. Here it comes. He'll have the inside line in the next corner.
I think Miller's got it. Jack Miller then. A late show coming from Jack Miller. Miguel masterclass here in Portimao.
The checkered flag comes out here in on the KTM, and Miller does get a bit of personal revenge over Morbidelli. He finishes KTM's in the top 4 with Pol Espargaro in 4th and Nakagami 5th. And across the line there, Dovi.
Grazie Dovi. The message is on the pit board to the factory Ducati men. What a day. There is Paolo Oliveira. Race. Made the start from pole position, got the gap, built the gap, and then never looked through the seas of Miguel Oliveira. Pressure. What pressure of racing in home soil.